Good evening, welcome along to Sky Sports News. Arsenal have received a huge boost as Bukayo Saka returns to training with less than 2 weeks to go until Mikel Arteta's side hosts Real Madrid in the first leg of their Champions League quarter-final. Let's start with a huge boost for Arsenal. Bukayo Saka has returned to training after 3 months out with a hamstring injury.
Saka's return comes with less than 2 weeks to go until Arsenal host Real Madrid in their first leg of the Champions League quarter-final. Well, Saka confirmed the news on social media as he posted this photo with the caption, "Hello again." Love seeing that smile, don't we? Saka's return is particularly welcome, with Arsenal still without Kai Havertz and Gabriel Jesus. Before his injury, Saka had scored 5 goals and provided 10 assists in his 16 Premier League games.
Well, that ranks amongst the best numbers of his career. Saka's average of 1.08 goal involvements per 90 minutes puts him behind only Mo Salah amongst Premier League players this season.
Saka's importance to Arsenal is clear, as you can see here, as their win percentage drops by 10% without him in the team. They also score more goals and have lost just 2 of their 24 matches with him.
The question is, when will he return to first-team action? Arsenal face Fulham on Tuesday before heading to Merseyside to take on Everton. Perhaps the key day is April the 8th. 12 days from now, Arsenal face Real Madrid in the first leg of their Champions League quarter-final at the Emirates. It's then Brentford at home before the return leg at the Bernabeu on April 16th.
Well, ahead of that tie, UEFA has opened an investigation into the behaviour of 4 Real Madrid players during their win over City rivals Atletico in the previous round of the competition.
4 players are Kylian Mbappe, Antonio Rudiger, Vinicius Junior and also Dani Ceballos. Now, TV pictures appeared to show Tony Rudiger making a throat-cutting gesture, and also they appeared to show Kylian Mbappe grabbing his crotch. Now, the inspector works independently. UEFA are unable to give us a timescale of how long it could take. It's basically up to the inspector. I think most of the evidence in this case could be video footage, so it could be done pretty quickly, but that doesn't mean or guarantee that it will be done in 12 days. 12 days being Real Madrid's next European game, of course, against Arsenal. Now, UEFA can't give us any information on timescale. They can't give us any information either on possible sanctions. For instance, could they be banned? UEFA are saying no comment. Having said that, I think a fine is more likely than a ban. Why do I say that? Because I've looked at past cases of similar incidents. For instance, back in 2019, Juventus were playing Atletico Madrid. Cristiano Ronaldo scored a hat-trick. He celebrated his final goal by making an obscene gesture. He was charged by UEFA for improper conduct, and he ended up being fined €20,000. That is why I think in this instance, it's more likely that if these players are found guilty of the charges, they would be fined.
Breaking news to bring you, and this looks like really good news for Arsenal fans. That's because the Arsenal X account has posted pictures of Bukayo Saka back in training, and Saka himself has posted on Instagram a picture of himself in training with the caption, "Hello again." He hasn't played since December the 21st. That's over over 3 months since he's been in action. When he pulled that hamstring, he's had surgery on that hamstring since. Arsenal's caption just said, "Working hard." He's missed the last 19 games, but has he timed his return to perfection as far as Arsenal are concerned? They've got a big game in the Premier League against Fulham next week. That's followed by a game against Everton, and then, of course, the Champions League quarter-final against Real Madrid at the Emirates, followed by the return leg, of course, at the Bernabeu. So Arsenal posting pictures of Bukayo Saka back in training after an absence of over 3 months with that hamstring injury. Could be really good news, that, for Arsenal.
Yeah, it's going to be very strange this summer because we're going to have 2 transfer windows. The first one, the window will open on Sunday, the 1st of June, but it will close pretty soon after that, Tuesday, the 10th of June. Now, this is a special window that has been allowed by FIFA because FIFA are staging the new expanded 32-team Club World Cup this summer. That starts on the 15th of June. So FIFA want to make sure that the clubs who are playing in it can buy players before the tournament starts. So they've said to the member associations of the clubs taking part, if you want, you can have this special window from the 1st to the 10th of June. And the Premier League have decided today that they will have that window, and that will help the two clubs from the Premier League who are playing in the Club World Cup, Manchester City and Chelsea, to buy players. But it's not just them. The other 18 clubs in the Premier League will be able to trade during that early window as well. Then the window will close for 6 days, and it will reopen on Monday, the 16th of June, and that will be the normal transfer window that everybody is used to. It will be open for around 11 weeks, and it will close on Monday, the 1st of September.
So there's a 6-day gap there from June the 10th to June the 16th. Why not just leave it open?
That is a good question. I think the answer is you have to be a real sort of transfer window anorak. You need to look at FIFA's rules, the Premier League's rules. Basically, to cut a long story short, leagues are allowed to have a transfer window open for 16 weeks across a year. 16 weeks, that's the maximum it can be open for. Obviously, the January window, that's 4 weeks. So in the summer, you're allowed to have a window of 12 weeks. So the Premier League have to be very, very careful with the dates. And the dates that they've chosen make sure that the window is not open for more than 16 weeks across the year. There had been some talk, some people in football, especially sporting directors, they want the window to close before the season starts. So at the previous shareholders meeting, there had been some discussion about the window perhaps closing on August the 14th, 2 days before the season starts on August the 16th. But there was a vote today, just by show of hands, and everybody unanimously agreed to stick with having the window on the 1st of September. So what that is, 2 and a bit weeks after the season starts. So we're still going to have this situation in the summer where the season starts, and then for 2 weeks, clubs can buy and sell players. You may have unhappy players who are out of the picture, not playing. So we could still have that situation. I think the reason the Premier League don't want to move the deadline day earlier and have it closed before the season starts is, do you remember? I'm sure you remember.
Yeah.
2018. Premier League clubs decided that the transfer window should close on August the 9th, very, very early, a day before the season started. But then what happened? The big European league said, we don't care what the Premier League are doing, we're going to stick to the 1st of September. So that meant the Premier League clubs were at risk of losing players to their European rivals and not being able to replace them, which is, I think, why the Premier League clubs decided today, let's stick with the 1st of September. We're only going to change it if the big European leagues decide to change their date sometime in the future as well.
Yeah, apologies if you could hear Carve's anorak rustling there. What else came out of that meeting then?
Well, this is another one for anoraks as well. Semi-automated offside technology this weekend. So semi-automated offside technology, SAOT, is being used at Fulham Palace, Brighton Forest, Bournemouth, Man City this weekend. It can't be used at Preston North End against Aston Villa because Preston North End Deepdale is a non-Premier League ground and it doesn't have the 30 tracking cameras that you need to operate semi-automated offside technology. But if all goes well at those 3 games this weekend, I think we will have it in the Premier League probably in around 3 weeks' time. And we're being promised that SAOT will cut down the decision-making time when it comes to offside decisions to about 30 seconds. Of course, it was trialled in the previous round, 7 out of the 8 games. It worked pretty well, apart from there was one issue during the game, Bournemouth against Wolves, when there was an 8-minute delay for VAR checks to be made, and eventually a goal that Milos Kerkez thought he'd scored was disallowed for offside.
Bukayo Saka is nearing a long-awaited return for Arsenal after 3 months out with a hamstring tear. England international's injury was a huge blow to the Gunners' title hopes. His comeback could impact Ethan Nwaneri, Martin Odegaard and Ben White. It is a testament to Bukayo Saka's importance to Arsenal that even after 3 months out through injury, he remains their leading provider of goals and assists this season. His combined total of 22 in 24 appearances in all competitions, before his hamstring tear in the 5-1 win over Crystal Palace in December, still has him 3 clear of any other player. Even in the context of Arsenal's struggles in the opening months of the campaign, Saka was posting the best numbers of his career. His average of 1.08 goal involvements per 90 minutes puts him behind only Mohamed Salah among Premier League players this season. The statistics are a reminder of how much Arsenal have missed him and how much they stand to gain as, 3 months on, the 23-year-old teases his return to action on social media with a beaming smile and thumbs up in training. Saka is not the only Arsenal attacker to have been sidelined this season. Martin Odegaard missed 3 months with an ankle problem suffered in September. Gabriel Jesus and Kai Havertz had their campaigns ended by knee injuries in January and February. Gabriel Martinelli has only just returned from a hamstring issue. Cumulatively, the injuries took a heavy toll. But there is no doubting Saka's was the most impactful. On the night he pulled up against Palace at Selhurst Park, Arsenal had narrowed the gap to Liverpool to 3 points. It has widened to 12 points since. Saka had scored or set up 40% of Arsenal's goals at the time of his injury. His output was at its highest under Mikel Arteta, continuing a pattern of year-on-year improvement and underlining his huge influence on an attack built to maximise his threat. Arteta has a core of key players, but the ever-improving Saka is surely top of the list. Since Arteta's first game in charge, in December 2019, Saka has made more Premier League appearances, scored more goals and provided more assists than any other Arsenal player. He also ranks top among his teammates for shots and chances created in that time frame. He is their main goal threat, having developed a ruthless edge when cutting inside from the right, but also their main creator, providing a consistent stream of opportunities from both open play and set-piece situations. Arsenal's output declined on both fronts without him, perhaps most notably from dead balls. Without Saka's outstanding delivery from corners, for example, they went 2 months without scoring from one before Mikel Merino's winner against Chelsea in their last game. The club are adamant he will not be rushed, though, and the care taken with Martinelli, who was given 2 games as a substitute before starting against Chelsea, having had a third of the time out with a less severe hamstring injury, certainly suggests they are serious about it. Every case is different, of course, but if it was felt Martinelli needed 2 substitute appearances before a full comeback, it can be reasonably assumed that Saka will need more. That might make the second leg of Arsenal's Champions League quarter-final against Real Madrid on April 16 a more realistic target for a return to the team than the first leg a week earlier. What seems certain is that, when he does return, it will be to his usual role on the right side of Arsenal's attack. His return will have a direct impact on Ethan Nwaneri, whose eye-catching breakthrough this season, usually when playing in Saka's spot on the right-hand side, has left supporters wondering how Arsenal can go about fitting the pair into the same starting lineup. Recent evidence suggests the Arsenal boss will need to find a solution in the not-too-distant future. The 18-year-old has scored 8 goals, 4 of which have come during Saka's time on the sidelines, making him Arsenal's third highest scorer this season and underlining his effectiveness. His average of 0.66 goals per 90 minutes is actually the highest of any Arsenal player. He has shown his clinical edge internationally too, scoring on his full England U21 debut against Portugal. His breakthrough has delighted everyone at Arsenal, but Arteta admits Nwaneri has played far more minutes than planned this season due to their injury problems. On the one hand, the increased playing time has accelerated his development. On the other, there is the risk of overexposure. Nwaneri has shown he is ready to step up, but, having only turned 18 last week, his minutes still need to be managed as he adapts to the physical and mental demands of top-level football. For now, it might not be a bad thing to use him more as a substitute than a starter. Nwaneri can, though, provide a much-needed rotation option for Saka to ensure he is not overburdened following his injury, while Arteta can also use him in central positions. Nwaneri was deployed as a right-sided midfielder in the Carabao Cup earlier this season. Arteta has also said he could play on the left side of midfield and even feels he could develop into a number 9. His versatility opens up more routes into the team. While some may have to make room for Saka in the team, others will hope to benefit from his return. Odegaard has not looked his usual self this season, contributing only 2 goals and 4 assists in 21 Premier League games. The absence of Saka has been a factor. The understanding between the pair on Arsenal's right flank has become a crucial asset, but injuries mean they have only started 12 out of 45 games together in all competitions this season. It is telling that Arsenal are unbeaten in those 12 games, with a win rate of 67% compared to 55% in games with one or both missing from the starting lineup. The presence of Saka is not the only consideration in assessing Odegaard's form, of course, but it is certainly a big one. The statistics underline the strength of their connection on the pitch. The graphic below breaks down all chances created for both Saka and Odegaard since the latter's permanent arrival at Arsenal from Real Madrid at the start of the 202,122 season. Odegaard has created 46 chances for Saka in the Premier League in that timeframe, considerably more than the next highest player in Martinelli, who has created 32 chances for Saka. Interestingly, though, the data shows an even bigger gulf in reverse. Saka's total of 74 chances created for Odegaard is nearly 3 times as high as anyone else's, with Martinelli next on 29. Odegaard is commonly thought of as being the playmaker of the two. In fact, he is serviced by Saka far more than he serves him. It helps to explain his dip in form without Saka alongside him.